So finally, we move across to Belgium, where Annemie will talk about her experiments. So, hello, Annemie.
Good morning, Jane. Good morning, everybody. I will share my screen with you. There we go. Good morning.
Good morning. So, first of all, Annemie, do you want to just introduce yourself?
Yes, so as I said already, my name is Annemie Elsen. I'm working at the Soil Service of Belgium, and together with my colleague Mia Tits, we have been in charge of the Belgian study site in this SoilCare project.
Great. So can you tell us about the soil improving practices that your stakeholders decided to focus on and why?
Yes, for sure. Well, our stakeholders were very much interested in working on organic soil amendments for two reasons. The first reason, they want to improve the soil organic matter in their soil, and secondly, they want to optimize the soil water balance. As you know or you don't know, in Belgium, almost 50% of all arable land has a suboptimal soil organic carbon content. And on top of that, due to climate change, our farmers have to face wetter springs and drier summers with from time to time heavy rainfall. So for that reason, improving and increasing soil organic matter is very important in order to improve water infiltration during heavy rainfall, for example, and in order to improve the water retention. The sixth they really wanted to learn more about were solid manure, compost, and then a more innovative technique, the application of wood chips.
Great. So could you tell us a bit more about the design of the experiments that you carried out?
We focused on two experiments. First experiment is the Compost Trial. This is a long-term trial where we have been applying for over 20 years compost at different dosages and different application frequencies. And in this trial, we could really focus on long-term effects on chemical, physical, and biological soil quality and the impact of the compost as an organic amendment. Second trial, this is a newer trial which was started based on the stakeholder input, the organic soil amendment trial. In this trial, we have been comparing mineral fertilizer with the solid manure, with the compost, and then with the wood chips, which you can see on the slides in the pictures on the left.
Okay.
And in this trial, of course, we could only have a look at short-term effects.
Yeah. So are these monitoring results starting to give you an idea whether these practices will generate expected impacts?
Yes, well, especially in the long-term trial, the compost trial, there we can observe clearly that the compost incorporation increases the carbon, but that this is a very slow process. And we see an increase, but well, the trial is there since 20 years, so there is carbon increase, but it's very slow. On top of that, we do see, or we have been observing, that this increase in carbon results in an increased water infiltration. And as you can see on the graph here, an increase in water retention as organic carbon increases. So some nice results. Also linked to the soil biodiversity, we had the opportunity to collaborate with the colleagues from SoilCare within this SoilCare project. And they investigated the fungal soil biodiversity. And there we had also clear proof that the organic amendments and the increase in carbon resulted in an increase in soil biodiversity. Mm. That's for the long-term trial. Now, if I focus a bit more on the wood chips in the second trial, after incorporation of the wood chips in autumn 2017, the the first spring in February, we did notice that the crop emergence of the winter wheat was a bit hampered due to the wood chips, as you can see here on the satellite image, where you can clearly see the 4 bands with the wood chips. Now, fortunately, after that moment and during the consecutive years, we never observed a significant negative effect of these wood chips on the crop yield. So that's, I think, a quite important result. The wood chips, we could not yet measure impact on the organic carbon, but we could measure a significant impact on the infiltration, where the wood chips significantly improved water infiltration in this trial. So yes, some nice results already coming out of it.
Yeah. Thanks, Annemie. Yeah, some really interesting results, I think, particularly with regards to the wood chips. Yeah.
Yes.
So what was your stakeholders' feedback in terms of the main factors that could promote or prevent the uptake of these practices?
Well, we had a lot of discussions and opportunities to discuss the findings with our stakeholders during the project. And if we look at the compost first, our farmers and other stakeholders are convinced of the advantages of compost in terms of increasing organic matter and improving soil quality. However, they did point out to us that the additional cost is a barrier to them, and even more important, legislation, the manure legislation in Flanders has strict regulations in terms of nitrogen and phosphorus input, and there the compost, as it has a high phosphorus content, the legislation is a barrier for the free application, let's say, of compost. Wood chips, it's a bit a different story. The nice thing about the wood chips, according to our stakeholders, is the fact that in contrast to compost, wood chips add a lot of carbon and little nitrogen and phosphorus to the soil. So for the manure legislation, this is definitely a benefit for the application of wood chips. On the other hand, wood chips, there is also an additional cost and additional labor involved. We know from other studies that if every farmer would like to apply wood chips, well, the availability is limited. And more importantly, at this moment, the waste legislation is a severe barrier for the application of wood chips. But fortunately, thanks to the research that we carried out within the SoilCare project, at this moment, the legislation is under revision. And we recently talked to the people from OVAM who are responsible for the waste legislation. And so we have guarantees now that by the end of 2022, the wood chips will be legalized. So the farmers will be able to apply them to their fields in order to increase organic matter.
Well, that's a great outcome for the project.
Yes, certainly. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And do you see potential for applying organic amendments across Europe?
Yes, of course, for sure. Not only in our region, the application of organic amendments has potential, but especially also in the southern countries, we do see that there is a lot of potential based on the analysis that was carried out by the colleagues from RICS within the SoilCare project. However, I have to stress that especially the barriers linked to legislation have to be overcome. And also we have to keep in mind that there are often additional costs involved.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much, Annemie. So if anyone's got any questions for Annemie, please post them in Ask a Question, and she'll try and answer them at the end of this session, or again, she'll be at the fireside chat as well.